do you get kids enthusiastic and excited about looking at art without feeling like you're dragging them around the museum? So today, the K5 took a little field trip. And what better place to talk about this than Dia Beacon? So we wanted to sit down with an expert. She's an art historian, she's head of publishing at Dia Foundation, and most importantly, she's the mother of 2 boys. So the K5 spent some time speaking with Karen Kelly. Thanks for sitting down with us, Karen.
Happy to be here.
So you have 2 kids. What do you think about when planning to take them to look at art?
Well, of course, there's no right way or wrong way to take kids to see art. All parents are different and all kids are different. So you want to find your own way, and that's the right way. Find their interest and think about them before you go. Also, do your research before you go. The second thing is to think about your kids, know your kids, and go from their interests. If they're interested in architecture, you might think about how the artist worked with space. If they're interested in music, you might talk about rhythm. If they're interested in performance, drama, then you might talk about when you're looking, say, at a Jackson Pollock painting, what kind of movements he might make while he's making those big gestures with the paint. So focus on the interest of the kid. Another thing is, like, say, for example, here at Dia Beacon, the gardens were designed by the artist Robert Irwin. He's a California artist. You could talk about botany, you can talk about the change of the seasons, and you can talk about the architecture.
So what you're saying is it's really about finding a hook to get your kids interested in looking at certain art.
Yeah, well, a good example of that is I took my 2 kids, who are very different, to see an exhibition by Olafur Eliasson. My older son is interested in science, and so he was interested in the mechanisms of the works at the show, whereas my younger son was much more interested in the magic.
You mentioned the artist Robert Irwin, who designed the gardens here and the entrance area, and that's something that I noticed when I come to Dia Beacon, is that it is a normal parking lot, but it doesn't look like the parking lot in my neighborhood. And it would be interesting to get kids to start to look at things that they're seeing here and then things that they're seeing in their home neighborhood and how they're the same or how they're different, and what idea did this artist really have to create that?
Sure, you might talk to your kids about the idea and how idea becomes form, how an idea can become an object. But there's also the idea itself can be thought of as art, as Lawrence Weiner thought, that the object didn't even have to be built. He used language to express his ideas, and the form became the language, or the language became the form.
Are there certain activities or conversations you would have before or during or after when taking your kids to look at art?
Well, before you go, you might want to talk to your kids a little bit about the artist or the artist's interests. But while you're there, I really think that it's great to focus on the experience itself. Express your enthusiasm to your kids so that they can feel free to express themselves. Talk about what they liked or didn't like about the work once you get home. Talk about their interests and how maybe those interests came out through the forms of the sculpture or the painting or the installation that they saw. Ask them whether they thought the artist was successful in expressing an idea. Make them feel comfortable about thinking that their ideas are as important as anybody else's, so that they can feel like they're full participants in the experience.
When talking about kids being full participants in the experience, what are some tips that you can give parents about taking their own kids to go look at art?
I would say you should take them anywhere, to galleries, to museums, to performances. Make them feel like they belong there. If you start taking them when they're young, then they will start to respect the work, know what the rules are, not to touch the work, not to run around and scream. But if you start taking them young, then they'll understand those things.
Karen, this was really helpful, and thanks for sitting down with the K5 and spending some time talking with us.
Thanks.